What's going on, friends? It's Deco. Welcome to another episode of Splatoon 3. So, there's a lot of interesting things that go on in this game. It's very meta. So, there's gear comps and, you know, what specific loadouts you should have for abilities you should have for each particular kind of weapon. Yeah, a lot of them are interchangeable. You know, if you're running machines, then if you're running washers, you want to have this set. If you're running dualies, you want this set. Splatters, this set, right? Or splat rollers. And if you listen to a lot of the competitive players, they're going to tell you, oh, you have to have it this way, or you have to play this weapon this way. And I think they're wrong. And that's going to be my hot take. So, I kind of want to go over what my opinions are on what each class of weapon should and shouldn't be used for in order to get your maximized your maximum joy out of playing the weapon. Some of them are really fun, and others just aren't. So we'll start with the nice easy one here. Alright, these are what I would call my rapid fires, my painters. These are your machine gun weapons if you're a Call of Duty fan, right? They don't do a lot of damage. Some of them do, some of them don't. But these are your up close and personals. Me particularly, for these kinds of weapons, I would primarily focus on ink regeneration and ink saver. I would also throw in some damage up, or damage resistance. So something along the lines of this. I would have ink saver be my main, or ink up for that. Mainly just because you're gonna be painting a lot. So you're going to want to recover ink as much as possible. The next thing that I would probably do is, for the next thing, is I would choose defense up, which is a little thing. So what it shows is that you can walk in ink faster and not really get hit so much. It's like 10 or 15 frames, I think, before you actually start taking damage, and then takes more hits to kill you. Because you're going to be up close and personal. So you'll be jalapeno business. A little quit. As far as, and I'm just using Aerospray as just a reference here. All right, this basically applies to any of the machine shooters. You're also going to probably want some intensify action because of the RNG jumping. As you can see, your reticule is, it's going everywhere. But Aerospray is like the worst weapon in terms of like damage output. The kit is cool. Reef Slider is okay. It's a really good displacement. It's a really good displacement special. Yeah, it's an OKO. If you can, if you get it. But for the most part, people are going to see you coming from a mile away, and all it's really going to do is just going to have them move. But it's also really good if they're stuck in a corner and you just want an easy splat. There you go. That's the best way to do it. But the damage output from this is crap. It is just not good. Yeah. So here I'll show you. We're gonna go into battle. Be right back. And so as you see here, the Aerospray has really good painting potential. I have covered a very large amount of space in very little time. Yeah, my gear is probably not optimal for this, but didn't say there's that. Range sucks. You really have to get up close and personal in order to make this weapon kind of work. And there's just better kits that are available in order to really maximize this. See, and there's the Reef Slider as well. Granted, I suck, but the point still stands. It's a really good displacement weapon. You really have to get like up close and like personal, in order for this to work. And like I said, the loadout is also really good. So let's move on to the next one. Next up is the sloshers. I personally like the sloshers. They're very fun. So the thing about the sloshers here, though, is that they're not really combat ready. I mean, they work. Don't get me wrong. Sloshers are very good. The sloshing machines, particularly, is probably the best slosher of the mix. The thing about sloshers, though, is that your job is chip damage. Unless you can get really lucky with some shots and some direct criticals, you're not really gonna hit much. Your job is just splash damage. Your job primarily here is to piss off the people to start them attacking you. But however, I mean, you also do need to know how to play the weapon, because you need to be able to have their heavy hitters, their attacking rolls, like their machines. But when I say machines, I mean like the rapid fire weapons, the arrow sprays, splatter shot juniors, the splatter shots. Those are your attackers. Right? Those are going to be the ones that are always going to be pissing you off the most, because those are the ones you're going to be interacting with the most. It's very rarely that you'll see a sloshing machine weapon on the front lines. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't go on the front lines. It's just they're not going to be on there willingly. You're not really going to see a sloshing machine user rush to mid. Sloshers use a lot of ink, and they're slow. Like I said, the primary focus of this is chip damage, pissing off everybody. You want to just slowly chip away their health to where they're just tired of dealing with you. And then that's when you come in and you just hit them with the 1-2. Every slosher is going to be a little bit different. The slosh machine just has the best loadout. I mean, who doesn't love, like, Booyah Bomb, you know? Smash Booyah, raises everyone thing, and if you hit it right, you can kill 3 people at once. Easy splats. The painting potential in this is great. But like I said, the only downfall of this is that this eats a lot of ink. So for these loadouts, you're probably going to want to have some ink save remains. You're also going to want to have some ink ups to regenerate your ink faster, so you don't have to stay hidden for very long. You're probably also going to want to throw in some special ups, as well as probably some intensify actions, because you are going to be lobbing paint pretty high. You're going to want to probably go around, and on enemy base, you're probably going to want to hit their spawn points, just to have them waste their time painting over you, as well as pissing them off, so your main people can go and ink their base harder. So let me show you what I mean. So as you can see here, I've been playing for a little bit, and the inking potential is great. I mean, look at the AoE you're spreading. But you'll notice you primarily don't want to be in the front. Yeah, sloshers are great. So one thing I did forget to mention, though, is one of the most important abilities you can have in your gear, and that's going to be Ninja Squid. So if you're normally when you're going, people can see you traveling. And that's like a really good example right there of close quarters combat. Probably might have been a little bit easier if you were using motion control, but if someone gets really up into your hitbox, there's really sloshers aren't really going to do much to combat that. They're not rapid fires. They're slower, but what makes them really good are their AoE potential and the range that they have around them. Everyone hates sloshers, so if you do play a slosher, please expect everyone to try and kill you, because you're annoying. But that's literally, like I said, that's by design. You are designed to be annoying. And let's just finish this up. Good old Booyah Bomb. Alright, let's on to the next one. Next up, we've got rollers. One of my personal favorite weapons, and I have been using it for quite some time. Rollers are your they're kind of the jack of all trades. They can be attackers, they can be supporters, they can be each splat roller has a little bit something more to offer. In my opinion, the splat roller, which is like the first available weapon you get at Sheldon's, is the best. I think the kit on it is really good. I personally would... The only thing that I would change on it would be the bombs. I don't personally like curling bombs. I think especially when you're in the thick of things, you need something that's a little bit more, little instant. Curling bombs are really good, especially if you're going to be running a Ninja Squid loadout. I mean, you literally can just throw there, hide behind your bomb, and you're out in the thick of it. People aren't really going to pay attention when you're Ninja Squidding. They're really going to be focusing on moving the bomb, so it kind of gives you a really extra layer of protection. With Ninja Squid, yes, you can still be found if you look, carefully. You can see the little ink tunnels that I am making, and you can also hear me kind of sloshing around in the ink. Unless you're really looking for it, you're not going to see it. That makes Ninja Squid a little broken. So with Splat Roller, Big Bubbler, it is both a defensive and an offensive capability. You're going to say, but I don't understand. It doesn't do any damage. Right. It doesn't, but it does block, everyone from attacking you for a set period of time while they start to whittle that down. If you look, I'm doing almost 200 damage, 150 damage to 220 damage, just off of the bat. If you're up in the close and personal for something, it is an instant kill. If everyone's trying to combat you, just flinging ink like so will also splat everybody. It is a very good, versatile roller, and it can be good for midline rushing as well as base defending, because one of the coolest things ever is you can just run over people. I have done it many, many times. It's very satisfying when you're just inking territory, and you just splat someone because you didn't see them and they die. It's hilarious every single time. So for loadouts, I would recommend with this Ninja Squid, 100%. You could probably also substitute Ninja Squid for Ink Up Recovery, Ink Save Remain. I would also probably throw in some Ink Defense Up, and I would probably also slot in Quick Respawn, mainly just because you're going to get splatted a lot. But you cover a lot of ground. You will probably be low-key expected to ink the base if no one's going to do it at the start of the match. Your ink output potential is great. You can cover a lot of ground fairly quickly, and you can build up your special fairly quickly. Unless you're a Flingas user, and in which case, don't be a Flingas user. We all know what you're doing. You're only playing you're only building up your special to use missile spam. Don't be that guy. Just don't. Underrated weapon for this one, I would probably say Dynamo Roller. For Dynamo Roller is going to be probably the most underclassed and underdeveloped weapon. It packs a punch. It's just extremely freaking slow. If I would say when we have version 2 come out for that, I would just say increase the handling speed a little bit, because the handling on it is it's just very, very slow. We'll let go. I'll show you. As soon as there's Dynamo Roller. Loading on the Dynamo Roller also sucks. Yes, you do fling a lot of ink. Yes, you do consume a lot of ink, and yes, the damage output is extremely high. However, you're almost 1 to 2 frames on everybody else, and 1 to 2 frames in a turf war match or even an anarchy battle, you're gonna get splattered. It's almost a guarantee. This weapon is really great in Salmon Run, if you guys ever used it. Solid weapon in Salmon Run. So let's go ahead and go back to the Splat Roller, and let's do some real combat, I guess real world, Covering ink, covering space, very good at this. As you can see, you are inking a lot. and you're not really doing a whole lot. Building up your special as quick as can in order to better support your team. This also has solid damage output. I didn't mean to pop the special. But, Big Bubbler, solid. People can jump to it, and it offers you a smidgen of protection. Yeah, so that's your typical aerospray build right there. This is not turning out to be a good, a very good example of splat rollers. Alright, there we go. Easily splatted someone with, you know, I was going to say very little effort, but as you can see, it didn't really take a whole lot to splat them. Yeah, on to the next one. Alright, next up we've got the blasters. They range from super fast to super slow. I prefer the super fast type, just because more DPS, better to ink. Some of them are really strong, some of them are really weak. This is the Clash Blaster. Clash Blaster is really good for competitive. Inking potential is okay. Sub is really good. My only thing about Clash Blaster is I would just increase the damage output just a little bit. Other than that, Clash Blaster is a very solid weapon. Like most blasters, the thing that you really have to be careful about is ink efficiency. You're going to be probably spamming, you know, you're going to be firing a lot, and you're going to deplete your ink fairly quickly. The other thing I would also say is the aiming and accuracy on this is probably not as great when you're jumping, and you're probably going to be doing a lot of jumping. Range is also something you have to look at. It doesn't really go that far. Like, I mean, you can see here, you know, if you're more of a back range, don't really like to get in the thick of that action, this is about it. This is where you're gonna go. Chip damage is gonna be the name of the game. In AoE, chip damage in AoE is gonna be what you want the most. You really want to go in and you just want to cover as much area as possible, and you want to piss off your opponent. Gear sets that I would recommend this. I would do quick respawn, I would do ink save remain, I would do damage resistance up, and quick respawn, and I would throw in some intensify action, just to handle more of the jump RNG. So let's see this baby in action. Clash Blaster is really good. Covers a lot of distance, and it can provide a lot of support. Blasters in general have their own niche little combat areas. Some people prefer them, some people don't. I'm in the minority where I find them very fun. I particularly just don't want to main them. Clash Blasters do require a certain bit of skill, but you can easily go in and pretty much just piss on it. But Clash Blasters do have, they have their own, they have a lot of damage output, and especially when people are cluttered in one small spot, it makes it very helpful to be able to splat multiple enemies and opponents. That's literally the same word. Easily to splat multiple opponents at the same time, especially when you're doing games like Tower Control. You would want an ability to splat multiple people, since everyone likes to gather on the tower to make it go faster. But yeah, so Clash Blasters are really good. They just they lack in. Clash Blasters can pave the way for an opening, but you do need your team and other weapons to go in and really be able to deal with that opening and take advantage of the opening, because Clash Blasters just by yourself, probably not the best bet. As you can see, you know, you can get overrun very easily. Anyway, on to the next. Next up is the dualies. These has significantly got better in Splatoon 3 than they did in Splatoon 2. Dualies, they have the squid roll, which is very nice. They offer a wide variety of versatility, range, power. My only gripe about this is that while some of them are really good, some of them are not really good. With dualies, it really just depends on what your loadout's going to be, depending on which one you're running. If you're running Splat dualies, some Ink Saver, some damage up, some intensify action because you are going to be jumping and you want your reticule to be as centered as possible. What makes dualies very well is that while you are shooting two, if you do a squid roll, you can shoot into one and it turns into your normal fire weapon. These are very good mid-range weapons. I prefer the Splat dualies, or not Splat dualies, but the Squelchy dualies. That seems to be the current favorite of right now until they rework the weapons in version 2. For these, it really doesn't matter what your loadout is, as long as you really have some. You're going to want Ink Saver main. You're going to want Ink Recovery up, and depending on what you're going to use. If you're going to be a dually runner, I would recommend to maybe slot in a couple of sub-savers, because you will be using splat bombs, and splat bombs do require, you know, they're very strong and they also do eat up a lot of ink. So in order to maintain your competitive edge, and so you don't get splatted very quickly, you're not going to want to run out of ink. The other thing that I would say as far as everything goes, if you're looking at comps, Apple dualies are probably going to be the least favorite until it gets reworked. Apple dualies are very great. They have solid speeds, but the kit loadout it doesn't work for that weapon. It doesn't really offer tactical. They're just nice, but it doesn't really give you an advantage as far as displacing opponents. It's good for your team because Tacticooler gives you a bunch of buffs, but as far as displacing team members goes, or displacing as far as displacing opponents goes, Dapple dualies just don't do it. Bottom tier is Gluga dualies. Gluga dualies are the strongest dualies in the game. They're slow as crap. And the only way Gluga dualies make it well is when you do a squid roll and you can combine them on one reticle. Glugas eat up a lot of ink, and then by themselves, they're just not that slow. But at least with dually squelchers, they offer a really good mix of range, power, and you can easily gun down people with just your normal ink. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and test these things out. So as you can see, ink potential is 100% there. You can easily, while you're running and gunning, you have plenty of range and you can easily see your opponents coming from a mile away. My only gripe about this is that you really have to understand and have a good situational awareness. It's very rare, it's very likely someone's going to come up and creep up on you. You have to just be able to adjust, and you're going to want to be able to do probably a quick squid roll on the fly just to get behind her. But dualies are very well, they're very popular, and they're quite fun to play. I would highly recommend playing them if you haven't given them a shot. Like I said, I would just be cognizant of your surroundings. It is very easy to get tunnel vision when you're playing this because you'll just start squid sliding, and you will easily lose track of where you are. So please keep that in mind when you are playing dualies. But it is quite fun. And without further ado, on to the next. Next up is a new weapon exclusively to Splat 3, and that's going to be the Splatanas. If you are a weeb, this is probably going to be your jam. While everyone is inking the base, you are studying the sword. These are very great weapons. They are 100% attacking weapons. They are not made for anything else other than that. You can charge the weapon, and it's an OKO. There are 2 weapons currently available. There's the Splatana Wiper, which is this, and the Stamper, which seems to be the more powerful version, albeit a little slow. The Wiper loadout is probably going to be your best one. It seems to be the favorite as it's quicker. The only problem is that the range it's a little lacking. As you can see, it doesn't quite get there. But Stamper, now that it's fixed, Stamper's great. Everyone really loves the giant hammer, and towards the end of it, you just chuck it, and it makes a giant explosion. The sub-weapon here is Ink Torpedo. Solid weapon. Once it hits, it explodes into little splat bombs. The only problem is that you can't easily reflect this back. So, I personally haven't really used the Splatanas much, because it does require... it does have a specific gear loadout, so you're going to want Ink Saber, and you're also going to want Intensify Action. So let's go and check these out. Charge and Splat. Charge and Splat. You're going to be Jump and Shoot Man. Splatanas are really great. They do require you to really be moving around and have a really good idea of where you're going to go and where your enemy is. In order for splats to be really good, you really have to charge the blade. The base damage just doesn't cut it, especially when you're dealing with stuff like that. You're really going to be... You really have to understand everything that's going around you. You also have to be very, very quick. Because you are going to be getting up in their face, and you're going to primarily be... yeah, like I said, you're primarily going to be getting the full front of whatever weapon they have. So you need to splat them before they splat you. And that's very hard to do. Especially when you haven't really played the weapon a lot. So basically just charging and moving. That's basically all you're going to be doing. This is your most powerful weapon is that. The charge your weapon and you splat. And then you die. Like what happened. Anyway, on to the next. Another new weapon for Splat 3 are bows. Bows are very fun to play. I'll bet they have very unique playstyles. Bows are very good support ranges, and they have very solid ink potential. Unless you're a reflex user. And we all know you're only using the reflex for one frickin' thing. And that's missile spam. That's right, folks. It's the cheesy way of grinding out specials. Not to say that missile spam doesn't have its uses. Missile spam is very good at displacing and is the ultimate displacer more than the Booyah Bomb. It's just, that's all anyone does. Is just missiles. As far as regular bow and arrow goes, they all have, both of them have their pros and cons. This one just seems to be a little slower, but it does have the nice little exploding ink arrows that come out afterwards. The damage is there. It's just you just gotta find it, really, essentially. You're not really going to be up close and personal with this because the charge time is slow. You will probably get splatted by a higher DPS weapon before you splat them. Your saving grace is going to be your exploding ink arrows. These are what's going to provide some cover for the frontliners while you're pushing in from the back. Yeah. So Killer Whale is a very solid special for this weapon. I will not go over reflex. I will not show it because I think that weapon needs a different loadout. The weapon itself is solid. The best inking weapon in the entire game is the reflex. You can ink almost an entire base no time at all. It just spews out paint. The only problem is that Tenta missiles they're just memed. And while the reflex itself it just needs a different loadout, honestly. Tenta missiles on it was just a mistake because of how fast you can charge your special, so much so that they raised the special requirements in the last patch. It's just not there. So let's see how this thing out. So stingers are very good. Like I said, they're super slow. The thing that's going to make the stingers really well is the charge shots that come out. Increases their range. You get a small little AoE effect. But that's it. Their back range supports. That's going to be their primary. That's going to be their primary thing. You're not really going to be on the front lines with this. You're primarily going to be in the back, really supporting the team. Really supporting the team from the back lines. If I had to change anything on this, I would slightly change the firing speed on them. I'm not going to say I don't need, like, you know, reflex levels of quick, but I would just something a little faster for your regular non-charge attack, because this is it's just too slow. And I also suck at tri-stingers, so you know that's just I'm not good at this game. Anyway, on to the next weapon. Alright, next up are the brushes. Everyone knows the brushes. They've been around since Splatoon. These are your really good frontline attacking weapons. They have solid ink potential. They can go around and act like a little roller if you really wanted them to. While they can't physically roll over someone, they can, you know, bump into them and stuff like that. The only downside of this is they do suck ink. The ink management on this is just not very good. If you want to be Spider-Man but in Splatoon, well, now you can with good old ink slinging slasher. I forgot the name of this weapon already, but you're basically Spider-Man. Go around. It's really that weapon's the special is really good. While it's not, I wouldn't say it's the greatest. I would put it up with one of the lower tiers. It's really good for going into enemy territory fairly quickly and bypassing all of the action. If they're guarding the front, you can just go over their heads and start inking the side of their base, which is going to cause them to stop. They're not going to be able to push forward because they're going to be too busy recovering the damage that you did on them, which allows your team to go forward. Brushes are very good. They do a lot of damage and they're very fast. They're also insanely fun to use, and you generate your special fairly quickly. Gear loadout for this, I would recommend Ink Savers, Ink Defense up, and Intensify Action, because you will be doing some jumping sometimes, and you do want your ink to hit as much as possible. Pretty much anything else would be good. I wouldn't put Special Charge on this. Your ink, your Spider Squidding doesn't really do that whole lot of damage. It's not really used for attacking. While you can use it, it does about 30-45 damage, which, I mean, it's not all that great. What makes up for it here is Suction Bombs. Everyone loves Suction Bombs. Can attach to any surface and do all sorts of crazy little hijinks with them. I would recommend putting on some sub-special up and some sub-power up as well. You will be using your Suction Bombs fairly a lot, as they're a really good last-minute getaway while you have to reposition yourself. So, let's see this baby in battle. So for brushes, you really have to get up close and personal in the opponent's space. The primary weakness to this is going to be long-range weaponry. You will be easily sought out from a distance, but if you can get the drop on the enemy, you can easily go in and you can give them a good splat. Just be careful, be cognizant of your surroundings, and be cognizant of your ink use, because you will deplete your ink faster than you realize. Do not be afraid to use your special. By special, I mean your sub. Don't be afraid to use your sub weapons. Splat bombs are really great. As you can see, splatted 3 people. Nice. Let's go to the next one. Next up, we've got the Splatlings. These are your Gatling guns. You play TF2, you're gonna be the heavy. You are not going to be moving. You are going to find a nice cozy little rat hole, and that's just where you're going to stay. You are not a frontliner. You are 100% backline support. And that's very good, because you're going to be able to pick the enemy off from afar and provide a lot of cover for very, very little ink out, or very little ink consumption. Heavy Splatlings, the Heavy Splatling is probably one of the best Splatlings in the game, until the rework. I do like the Mini Splatling just for the charge time on it, but the Heavy Splatling itself, you pick a little comfy spot, and this is just where you're gonna sit. Most people like here, they like to. This is it. Like, this is primarily where we're gonna go. You do have to be cognizant of your surroundings. You will be picked off the most. People are going to find you, and they're going to want to stop you. Because you're a backline anchor, you primarily attract a lot of attention. Mainly just because you can kill people from afar while your main team goes forth. Hydra Splatling has very good range. As you can see, it covers quite far for a heavy weapon like this. For here, I 100% would recommend Ink Saver Main. A couple of them, if you can put them on your spots, do Ink Recovery up, because you want to be able to lay down pressure continuously, and you don't really want to have a lot of downtime. If you give the enemy a chance to break through, they will break through your front line. So you want to be able to recover enough ink in order to be able to constantly put the pressure on the enemy team. I wouldn't do Intensify Action. You're not really going to be doing a whole lot of jumping. I would say put in some ink resistance up, and I would also throw in a couple of specials up depending on what your weapon is. Your main goal here is you want to be in the fight for as long as physically possible. You do not want to sit there and run out of ink, and then you get splatted, which allows the enemy to take over your backline. Strong backline, you're going to give the enemy a really hard time in order to ink your side of the base. While you might still lose, because they might ink the most territory, they won't really be inking that side of your base very often. So, let's see this puppy in action. I died. Primarily because the entire enemy team started attacking me. Like I said, you are a magnet for the enemy. You are highly annoying, and they really just want to, if they can get rid of you, then the other team can be easily more manageable. Easily able to turn the tide of a match if you really know what you're doing. You don't want to be so far removed that you don't really want to be so far removed that that you're away from the action, but you don't want to be too close to where that you're going to attract the aggro of the entire enemy team. Gotta find that nice balance. A really good heavy user can easily control a battle. So if you're a heavy user, you have my salute, because this is a very hard weapon to really use. It's not an upfront weapon. This is a behind the scenes weapon. So let's go look at the next one. Next, we have the sniper rifles, or the chargers, as they are known in this game. These have been known since Splatoon 1. These are, again, much like the Splatlings. These are 100% going to be your backline weapons. These are the weapons that everyone hates. You really don't want to be involved with one of these weapons, primarily because you know if you see them, you're just not gonna have a straight up good time. Chargers are very good. if you know how to use them, they can be quite deadly. Be prepared though, you will be fucked with the most. Everyone hates chargers. There's pretty much no other easy way to avoid them. Really just have to be good with your aim. That's basically the only reason. That's the only thing I can say. As you can clearly see, everyone's trying to stop me. No one likes chargers. They're a menace to the game. But if you're a really good charger, the map is yours. No one will be able to advance. They'll see you coming from a mile away. That's it. I mean, like I said, everyone keeps trying to come and get me. I'm not really doing anything different other than just playing the game. But your inking potential with this is a phenomenal. Everyone, it's probably some of the best inking you're ever going to have in this game. My only advice to you, well, I don't really have anything for chargers. You're just good luck. You're going to be the first target that everyone's going to go after because you're going to be the one that's going to be controlling the map. In order for the enemy team to really get their hands on anything, they have to deal with you first. Because one good charge shot takes them out. Like so. I mean, like... my advice also for this, ink saver. You're going to want to conserve your ink as much as possible. I think the special on this one was really good. Wavebreaker is a very solid thing. I think E-liter scope. E-liter is probably one of the better weapons in the game. I would think that the scope is a little bit more. I think the scope itself, I think it just adds too much. I think it's just too slow. Regular E-liter though, probably a very solid choice. So yeah, let's go to the last weapon. Last but not least here, we've got the umbrellas. Umbrellas, I think, are a new weapon in this game. I don't remember them being in Splatoon 2, but I don't really have a lot of memories of Splatoon 2. I didn't play as much as I wanted to. Umbrellas are really... They're very underutilized. They just need a better kit. So this Tent Umbrella is probably going to be... All around is going to be the best one. It provides a really good damage shield, and it allows you to go in and, while you know, run and shoot. The only drawback to this is the sub weapon. It's just, while it's very good to place a beacon, you're not really going to be, you're not an anchor. I think that the sub for Umbrella was it missed the mark. Umbrellas are not backline weapons. I think it would have been really great on something of like a charger or something of like a splatling, to where you're gonna be a cement, you're gonna be an anchor. So it makes more sense for everyone to jump to you, or you can lay down a beacon somewhere and you can easily defend that beacon, and everyone's gonna be more wanting to splat you than they are gonna splat the beacon. The umbrella still needs work. It is still bugged. I'm sure you all have seen videos of the umbrella just flying away into space. I think that the umbrella itself, the concept is very good. It's basically your shotgun. For those of you that are trying to find the real world equivalent of these weapons, this is just your shotgun. Inking potential, solid inking potential. Only downside. The ink management is not good. You're definitely going to want to have some ink saver range. You're also going to want to have some ink recovery up. You're also going to have some ink resistance up. And pretty much anything else, I would say special up, ink vac, solid. The ink vac is a very solid weapon choice. It literally just shoots a giant ball of ink. And it's really great when you can draw the enemy fire and they're literally just shooting a bunch of ink at you and you can spit it right back at them. Special up, intensify action up, ink resistance up, ink saver up, ink saver main, and maybe special up too if you have the slots to spare. But you're, and I would also probably sub out maybe one of your ink saver mains if you don't, if it's not your main slot. I would probably go ahead and throw in a quick respawn. You will be splatted a lot. Your front line, you can offer support. Your shield is really great. It does do damage as it goes. But as it's going, you're primarily going to be running behind them. But your shield eats up a lot of your ink. So your umbrella itself already sucks a lot of ink. Your shield already takes up a lot of ink as well. So you're really going to want to be conscientious of your ink management. So let's see this thing in action. So here we are on the battlefield. Inking potential. Your little shield thing will ink the path in front of you, which is really good to covering large swaths of turf very quickly. Your shotgun, solid range. Damage though, not there. The range is also not there. If you're gonna be umbrella main, really just I don't really have a lot of advice for that. I don't really see a lot of umbrella mains anymore. It's just, well, I'd say it's not the meta anymore. There really isn't such thing as a meta. It's just, yeah, I mean, there's really no such thing as a meta anymore. Pretty much you just play whatever makes you happy. Basically all I can really say. But as you can see, the ink vac, solid thing. Literally just sucks up everyone's ink and throws it right back at them. I think ink vac is one of the more creative specials in this game. It does have some really great potential. But yeah, so that's it. We'll see you back in the lobby. So that's it for everyone. That's all the weapons. There were a couple of repeats that I didn't really go over. The Bloblobber, that's you can classify that as kind of a mid-range support. It's really good for choke points because you're lobbing blobs and they ricochet and they have really solid inking potential. Head-on battles, and you will lose to the Bloblobber if you can't counter it. But that's it. I hope you guys like this video. If you can like it, leave a like. It really helps me out. Really trying to grow my Splatoon 3 videos. And if you don't, let me know in the comments. If you disagree with my takes, please let me know. We can argue about it in the comments. But as always, cephalopods, happy splatting.